The Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up is a look at the events Southern Miss Student Media covered throughout the week and the events Southern Miss Student Media is working on for next week. And now, here's the host of the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up, Kelsey Bolden.
Hey everyone, my name is Kelsey Bolden, and I'm your host for the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up. I hope everyone is doing well on this Friday afternoon at the top of the 12 o'clock hour. It is 47 degrees in Hattiesburg. It is so cold to me that I have a coat on in the studio today because I am not a person who likes the cold. But some people like it, which is amazing to me. But we are finishing the 5th week of classes for this week. This semester is going by pretty quickly. I can barely keep up with it as it is. But as always, remember to relax and take time to do some fun activities with your loved ones, like your friends and family. You can go walking, maybe not in this weather, but you can do some pretty cool indoor activities too. We have it for students on campus. We have a game room in the Union, so that's pretty fun. You can always go there. I've been there, and it's a great time.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ed Simpson, Director of the...
What's going on, Southern Miss Radio?
Since 1927, the Student Prince has been
Join
a direct
Southern Miss
conduit
Radio
to
on
USM
Sunday mornings from 6 a.m.
On the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up, I talk to leaders from SM2, the Southern Miss Student Media Center. In the Media Center, students have the opportunity to get involved with print, radio, social media, and television, and curate stories that are for students that are by students. Now we're going to take a sponsorship break and hear from Abigail Troth, who is the editor of the Student Prince. Stay tuned.
Since 1927, the Student Prince has been a direct conduit to USM students. Get your share of the more than $600 million USM brings into South Mississippi by advertising your business or service in the Student Prince. To find out more about how to advertise in the Student Prince, email sm2sales@usm.edu.
Join Southern Miss Radio on Sunday mornings from 6 a.m. till noon for Sunday brunch. You'll get jazz and swing music from artists as wide-ranging as Bix Beiderbecke to Brad Meldau. From Dippermouth himself to Esperanza Spalding. But relax, you don't need to know anything about the music to enjoy it. It's a great way to wake up on Sunday morning. Sunday brunch from 6 a.m. until noon on Southern Miss Radio.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We have Abigail Troth, who is the editor of the Student Prince, with us today. How's it going, Abigail?
It's going great. I'm cold.
Me too. Like I said earlier, me too. So I know last week you were away at a conference. How was that conference?
It was probably one of the best experiences of my life. You know, I just have to brag on us as, Media Center for a moment because we took home 6 awards. Best website, I got best, second best editorial and opinion writing. We got sports awards, photography, just so many honorable things that I'm just very proud of us for achieving.
Yeah, congratulations first
Thank
of
you.
all. And we also missed you here.
Oh, I missed it too.
So we're glad to have you back. But how's the Prince faring for this week? Like, what can you tell us?
We're going great. We're busy. I'm busy working on an opinion article. We have another opinion article in the works, which has been kind of kept a little secret. For some reason. I don't know. It's going to be a surprise for everyone, I guess. We have a puppies and painting thing that you can expect in the next paper, if you know anything about that. It's a mental health project that took place a few weeks ago, and one of our reporters, Lauren Jones, is going to be covering it. We also have some sports that we're going to be covering in the paper. Obviously, you know that today is the first baseball game, so we're going to have a whole bunch of coverage of that, and also we're going to have a basketball game on Saturday. And probably the Mardi Gras parade too. So definitely we have a lot of things in the work.
Yeah, will you have a lot of people attending the parade, Mardi Gras parade?
I really hope.
Okay.
I won't be there personally. I'm not a parade person, but I know that we will have a lot of people out there covering it and probably just having a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds like a very busy weekend for
Yeah,
the Prince
it's definitely going to be
staff.
busy. Actually, like right after I leave here, I've got to go get some footage for my own stories that I'm working on, so.
Yeah, how are your stories coming along?
I've been working on them for like a few weeks because one thing about me is that I want to make sure that I'm always telling the truth. I want to make sure that we're following, the journalistic ethics and that we're staying accurate and true and fair. So it's taking a lot of research on this opinion article because I don't want to get in trouble with anyone here on campus and I don't want to get in trouble with myself. So it's taking a lot of research and it's taking a lot of time. But I am going to go cover the Paperboat Library. They're here in Hattiesburg, and I don't know much about the organization, so I scheduled a meeting to go cover what they're doing because they have something called the Autism Library where they teach about autism acceptance rather than awareness. So I'm going to go talk to them and cover they have a table set up in the Union from 4:30 to 6:30, so if y'all want, y'all can go out there and talk to them and get more information on autism acceptance, and I'm going to go talk to them about it and just get to know them so we can cover that.
Yeah, I think that's a great story to cover because I've actually never heard of the Paperboat Library.
Yeah, I don't know much about them, so I'm excited to learn.
Yeah, I'm excited to read, what you'll cover.
Yeah.
In the paper. So for next week, I know we have Mardi Gras break coming up, but what, if anything, is happening with the Prince next week?
Well, thinking we'll probably just be working on layout a lot and probably just gonna get some new stories going next week. Our assignments editor will probably send those out, even though it's the break. We're journalists, we never stop working. So even though we're going to be at home for those first 2 days, we're probably still going to get our assignments ready for the next paper. And if we have to get footage for SMTV, then we'll go ahead and get that assignment going too.
I think it kind of sounds like it's a bit of not an off week, like you said, but kind of a more less eventful week, I guess, if it's just layout. But I think that's okay because, like you said, we have so many events happening this week.
Yeah, so our paper should be pretty stacked.
Yeah.
This Wednesday.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
February is always just a really big month.
It is.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you, Abigail, as always, for being on.
Of course.
Giving
Thank
us
you
some
for having
insight.
me.
Yeah, no problem. So now we are going to turn to Sethany Smith, who actually was on last week, and hear her report on the ChatGPT software. So let's hear it.
Administration and faculty across the university are concerned about the academic integrity among students and the use of the new AI, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence tool that helps students complete and answer writing assignments with no effort. ChatGPT, released in November 22, is now gaining a lot of attention from faculty and staff members here on campus. However, the University of Southern Mississippi's Office of the Provost is in the process of handling the use of students using ChatGPT.
Right now, we haven't considered it. I think individual faculty are concerned that students might use it in their coursework, but of course we have an academic integrity policy that says they shouldn't do that, and we have a student success office that monitors that. So I think right now it's being handled through the associate provost office, and it's not really on the agenda for the faculty senate at the moment.
ChatGPT is also a tool that pulls information written by others and forming a generic response to the question given.
I think the major concern by many people is that ChatGPT will be abused. It will be utilized on college campuses to submit assignments. And I think that concern is very legitimate. I also think that if you have played with ChatGPT, you can very quickly identify its shortcomings. It does not understand truth. It works based on word probability. So it knows that there's a high probability that the word domestic follows gross and the word product to follows domestic. So it uses probability to construct writing or creatively.
If you would like to try ChatGPT, please use with caution as this goes against academic integrity policies. For more on this story, please visit sm2media.com. I'm Sethany Smith reporting for SM2 Media.
Thanks, Sethany. And that was a really great story. I enjoyed hearing it. I think that's a very important issue. And I'm glad she covered it. But anyway, now we're going to turn to Garrett Grove, who is the executive producer of SMTV. Hey, Garrett.
Hey, how are you doing today, Kelsey?
I'm doing well. What about you?
I'm doing great as well. Thank you so much for asking. And I have to admit as well that it really is a very timely topic, and Sethany really did a great job covering that story with just ChatGPT in general. it's something that I guess you could say has kind of been on high alert, as well as great concern for administrators, particularly at USM. But kind of looking at coverage of how other universities have also looked at ChatGPT, it's also, in a way, a source of excitement because going to Ole Miss and looking at coverage from their newspaper, the Daily Mississippian, they were actually talking about how they're setting up a ChatGPT task force and how they're actually in the works to actually create classes for artificial intelligence. And there's projections that, at least by the author as well as some of the people that the author interviewed, that we might have a day where our first draft of a paper is generated by AI and we just kind of go down from there. And I thought that was a really interesting perspective. Concern is definitely something that's part of that story, but also what this could be used for in the realm of, I guess, academic progression is also a worthwhile topic.
I agree, and I, of course, think that academic integrity is very important.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a very timely issue. And if I'll be honest, it kind of scares me a little bit. AI is very developed, and the fact that it can generate full essays that can be undetectable by professors is amazing.
Yeah, it really just shows how far technology has come. You know, just in that same realm, just with coverage that we've had this week, it's also been extremely compelling and interesting, especially as it relates to how far our students have come in terms of the opportunities that they've taken a part in. A great example of this is we had a student from the School of Education. She's currently working on her doctorate. She was actually involved in the coin toss for the Super Bowl. It was definitely a very interesting element, and having Carter actually work on that story, Cordavion Carter, was really something I think that brought a lot of perspective and just showcases how even in Arizona we can see USM students soar and things of that nature. But of course, going back to home as well in terms of coverage, something else that was also of really interesting importance was also kind of the Moe's on campus. I don't know about you, but I am like perhaps the biggest cheerleader for Moe's. It hasn't even been a week since it opened up, and by this Wednesday, I already been twice. So it definitely was about $30 worth of food I bought, but ultimately something that I felt was very worth it. And just judging by the attendance as well as the engagement of Moe's just on campus, it's going to be a very popular place for years to come.
Oh, I definitely agree. I've actually never had it on campus yet, just because every time I go, the lines are super long. I actually went yesterday around 8, 7-ish, and I don't eat meat, so I can only eat tofu. That's the only thing I really want to eat. That's meat-ish, but they ran out of tofu.
Wow.
So I'm going to have to go today. But I do remember maybe a couple of weeks ago you being on, or maybe this was in a meeting we had or something, but I remember the Prince discussing that they wanted to cover the opening of Moe's and including the delays it had with opening. So.
Yeah, some of those delays just included, supply chain issues. Like it was supposed to open on the 26th of January, but part of the reason why it got delayed was, hey, they had trouble getting the Coke machine in, things of that nature. But ultimately, no matter whether you get the home wrecker or just the stacks from Moe's, it's definitely going to be a good place to go to, especially if you're hungry on campus. But also in terms of other coverage, something that I felt was really timely, especially in the context of it being Black History Month, was our coverage of Raylani Branch, who was actually one of the first African-American students to come to USM. It definitely was an interesting story, and the interview was done by one of the anchors for this week's show, Jaterica Wilson, to just see someone so integral to the integration of USM on campus.
I've been hearing about this story and how it's been cultivating and kind of getting in the works, and I think it's a very important story. Those women were pioneers, especially Raylani Branch. I mean, just both of them. So I'm very excited to hear that story and Jaterica's coverage of it.
Yeah, I was as well. I was listening to it last night, just what was in SMTV, and it really was a very well done interview and something that I thought was very insightful.
Unfortunately, I couldn't catch it. I'm busy every single day.
Oh yeah, I get that.
But I bet it was great. I'll have to go back. But to wrap up, what can we look forward to next week with SMTV?
Well, for SMTV, we're going to be having some coverage of the parade, which is going to be on Hardy Street tomorrow. That's going to start at 1 o'clock p.m. I'll be getting some photos of that. I'll be doing some reporting for that. We won't be seeing it in SMTV next Wednesday because our next show is going to be on Wednesday, March 1st. But ultimately, if you want to see some coverage and maybe some photos for that, definitely pick up a copy of the student prints, which will be out next Wednesday.
Of course. Thank you so much, Garrett, as always, for giving us the details about SMTV.
My pleasure.
Alrighty, so now we're going to hear some sponsorship messages, but as Garrett teased, we're going to hear Cardavian Carter's story on USM Pat Tillman scholar Fabercia Flint as she did her coin toss at the Super Bowl. Stay tuned.
USM student Fabercia Flint, a doctoral candidate in higher education administration, had the honor of tossing the official coin before Super Bowl 57 between the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs in Glendale, Arizona on Sunday.
And to flip the coin, Fabercia Flint.
She was one of 4 Pat Tillman scholars named as honorary coin toss captains who were selected for their dedication and vision to creating a better tomorrow.
Fabercia, thank you for joining us at today's toss. We appreciate all the work that you and your colleagues do at the Pat Tillman Foundation to help our military families and veterans. Thank you.
Flint became eligible for the Pat Tillman Scholarship after her husband, Staff Sergeant Brian A. Lewis, was killed in March 2006 during Operation Iraqi Freedom. Through her loss, Flint found her purpose in helping others in higher education. She has created a scholarship in memory of her late husband and founded an educational consulting firm geared towards helping institutes of higher education foster learning environments that value diversity and inclusion for marginalized students.
It is tails. Kansas City has won the toss. They will defer their choice for the second half.
She hopes to complete her doctorate at USM in May 2024. This has been Cardavian Carter, signing out, SM2 Media.
Join Dr. Ed Simpson with a panel of USM students and professors for the first News You Need live event, Tremors in the Digital World, Thursday, February 23rd at 5 p.m. in Stout Hall on the USM campus. Tremors in the Digital World will examine how artificial intelligence and social media affects news gathering, reporting, and the world around us. Tremors in the Digital World, a News You Need live event, Thursday, February 23rd at 5 p.m. in Stout Hall on the USM campus. Listen live on Southern Miss Radio if you can't be at the event. News You Need is sponsored by USM Partners for the Arts.
Sponsorship comes from Hub City Spokes. Hub City Spokes publishes the Pine Belt News, Pine Belt Sports, Signature Magazine, and Here's Hattiesburg. HubCitySpokes.com is the destination for news and sports in the Pine Belt, as well as a look at the lifestyle of the people in the Pine Belt and beyond. Hub City Spokes, a proud Southern Miss Radio supporter. Southern Miss Student Media is how USM communication students put their education into action. The Student Prints, Southern Miss Radio, SMTV, and SM2 Creative are the media properties operated by Southern Miss Student Media. You can get your share of the more than $600 million USM brings to the area with help from Southern Miss Student Media. To find out more about how to reach the USM audience, email sm2sales@usm.edu. Recognition for your business or product, appreciation from a dedicated audience, and establishing yourself as a caring member of the Hattiesburg community are only a few of the benefits of sponsoring programming on WUSM. In addition, our very cost-effective underwriting rates are tax-deductible. To learn more about the upsides of underwriting programming on WUSM, call 601-266-4287.
Hey everyone, we're back with the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up, and we have Charlie Luttrell, executive producer of the 4th Street Sports Show, with us today.
Tata Davis and Destiny Brown said their goodbyes to Southern Miss softball last season as some of the best to ever represent the Golden Eagles, but it turned out to be the beginning of a new chapter in their story at USM. First-year head coach Natalie Poole welcomed Davis and Brown on the staff as assistant coaches for the 2023 season.
I can't say enough about Destiny Brown and Tata Davis. When I told our athletes that they were going to be staying with us and being around our team and working on our masters and still finishing up an undergrad, they were over the moon excited.
Davis and Brown led the Golden Eagles in almost every offensive category and set records in their final season. Davis thought about coaching after her playing career, and the decision came down to a simple interest.
I really like helping people. I know what I could do and what I could contribute to it, so I really like helping people in areas that they need help with.
The pair are still learning all about coaching, but have had a direct impact with their connections to former teammates.
I learned about who they are as quality people in terms of just who they are and character-wise, but also as athletes. It's made a huge difference because the girls respect them a lot.
And on the other hand, Poole has taught many things to the former players that have helped in their transition to coaching.
I'm comfortable being vocal on the field to the players because she's helped me be that way. Normally I kind of stay to myself and don't be as vocal, but now I've started being more vocal.
That level of communication from Davis and Brown has brought a sense of trust between the team and the new coaching staff.
They can confide in me and I can tell them, hey, look, you need to work on this without them getting upset or aggravated like I'm trying to tell them something wrong. I feel like they really trust me and they'll put their all into me as I will put my all into them.
This season is just the pair's first swing at coaching, but Davis says it's something that she could see herself doing in the future.
It's different for sure, but I've definitely thought about it or else I wouldn't, stick around. So we'll just see what the future holds. Hopefully something comes into play for me.
You can catch the former Golden Eagles in action as coaches in the dugout this season at the softball complex. This has been Charlie Luttrell for the 4th Street Sports Show.
Well, thanks, Charlie. And we have Charlie here with us. So how's it going, Charlie?
It's going good. I am pretty tired. We got back from Mobile last night, probably 1:30. So not too late, but we drove to Mobile. Pretty exciting game we thought it would be. It was a 31-point blowout. Southern Miss basketball has done really well this season, but that was by far the worst game of the season.
Well, we all have our moments.
Yeah, we were talking about in our post-game video, it's almost good, I think, that they have a game like that. It's kind of a reality check. Especially, you want that to happen now before the postseason when you're riding a high, only lost 4 games before that this season, to kind of say, okay, this is what we need to do. We can't let these mistakes happen again. So, not that it should have happened, but it is good to, get back to the drawing board these last couple of games, kind of refocus, kind of humble,
Yeah.
Lots of basketball, lots of sports is kind of mental aspects go into it. And last night, I think they just weren't, mentally ready. They got physically outclassed too. So they'll be back though. They have so much talent. They're very deep. They're undefeated at home still. They're going to play this Saturday against a team that almost beat Marshall last night. So it's still going to be tough for them, but I believe they can rebound from that.
Yeah, like you said, it sounds like a learning experience, which is needed across everything, not just sports, but I think definitely sports. And so it seems like you have high hopes for them, like you said, to kind of bounce back.
I really do. It's going to be interesting because right now, if they do secure the double bye, they could end up facing the team that just beat them by 31 points as, the first round of the conference tournament for them. So that is concerning. And they've gotten beaten by Marshall before too. But we've seen flashes of how good they are. They could possibly have been ranked, really. I think they should have at least received some votes, AP Top 25. So they're that kind of team, so I have no doubt that they can get back together from this.
So let's talk other sports, namely baseball.
Yeah, so baseball, softball going on, but everybody, is excited for baseball. It starts today, just long anticipated season. For us, it just felt, for the team, we had Coach Barry on a couple weeks ago. He said, it just felt like a couple days ago, but they went so deep last year, that it was far into our summer that they were still playing, so they had to make a quick turnaround. But here we are, February, start of the new season. They're looking to go to Omaha. It kind of feels like it's Omaha or bust. They have a lot of seniors that won't be returning next year, so they want to kind of utilize this talent. But, polls everywhere have Southern Miss, high ranked, even number 1 in the mid-major polls. They've got one of the best pitchers in the country. But, like I said last week, I think we were talking about, they are replacing a lot of talent in the pitching department. But every year, Coach Oz has turned out a good pitching staff. But still, fans are going to be there. Season tickets sold out for the entire year. There's just excitement around this program that there really hasn't been ever before. It's been continuously growing. It's at an all-time high for sure.
And you and I were talking before this interview, and you said that USM is really a baseball school.
Yeah.
Like, this is our sport. And I think you were also saying, because I asked you before the show started, if you were going to be the only person covering the game for 4th Street, and you said Dima's coming as well.
Dima won't miss that.
Yeah.
Dima likes baseball a lot, so he's our guy riding for it. I'll be down taking pictures for it.
So I know you all do predictions. I don't know if I should ask you yours, or if Dima's our guy to do that. Do you have any for baseball?
For the series this week?
Yeah.
Man, this is a tough schedule. It's the toughest schedule they've probably ever had, honestly. So I think they do have some things to figure out. I don't think they sweep this series. I think they definitely win tonight, though. Just kind of coming, the energy is going to be playoff atmosphere. I think they're able to win tonight. And I think they win the series, but I think Liberty might get a game in there. They got some things to figure out. The weekend rotation, Tanner Hall, Matt Adams, Nico Mazza seems pretty solid still. But Nico Mazza and Matt Adams, we haven't seen as much as them as the experience from last year. So it's a lot of, I wouldn't call it inexperience, but still lots of guys that are going to have to ramp up their production, and you might see learning curve at the beginning.
So let's turn to softball really quickly. What are your thoughts on the season?
Man, 4-0, actually, best start from a new head coach. So, yeah, that's a good job for Coach Natalie Poole. They've looked really sharp to start the season. 17-0 win on Wednesday, which that's a softball score against Southern. Really, 17 players, that's going to be a hard limit for them, but especially when you get deeper into the season. But pitching, Morgan Linestock has looked great. Defense has looked great. And as long as they have Linestock and, healthy to kind of keep the pressure off the other 2 pitchers, they only have 3 pitchers, they're going to be a competitive team for sure.
Well, we'll see how the season goes.
Yep.
Or continues to go. Well, I want to thank all of our guests for being on today. We had Abigail Troth, Garrett Grove, and we just heard from Charlie Luttrell. Thank you all so much for just doing what you do for our show.
Thank you.
Yeah. So remember that you can check out the student prints on sm2media.com and get physical copies on campus. Just look around. Of course, they'll be in College Hall. Downstairs, we have a little basket where you can get some copies. You can also check out episodes of SMTV on YouTube, and you can check out 4th Street Sports Show at 5 on Mondays on 88.5, or go to WUSM.com. I'm Kelsey Bolden, and this was the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up. Stay safe and have a great weekend.
This has been the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up. A look at the events Southern Miss Student Media has covered throughout the week and the events Southern Miss Student Media is working on for next week. The Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up airs Fridays at noon on Southern Miss Radio. We'll see you next week for the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up. Sponsorship comes from Southern Beverage, your local Michelob Ultra distributor. Michelob Ultra has significantly fewer carbs and calories per serving if you are watching those in your diet. You can reach Southern Beverage by phone at